what's up you guys? Today I'm going to show you guys how you price a house, or how you even figure out if you're going to build your own house, how you figure out how much your own house is going to cost, and then how that goes. So check this out. First off, you got to get some kind of plan going so you know what kind of house you're going to build, right? And then here, check this out. You got to get some kind of blueprints going, and then once you have some blueprints or you've picked out a house that you want to build, then you can actually start figuring it out. So if you just go like a little bit at a time, like I do this all the time. I price friggin' house for people. I build all kinds of houses non-stop. Like I built all kinds of stuff. But like if you see this, like once you get some prints, like where I'm pointing here, then you can see and you just start, you break it into segments like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. So say if you're like, say you begin, I'll just do an example because I do this, I've done this for years, like probably like, I don't know, 15 years or something. I got a good system where every house is a different price and it depends on the materials you're gonna use. So the way you do it, here, check this out here. So you just start off from the bottom up where you're like, okay, the foundation. So then you start off, you're like concrete footings. And you're like, how much concrete for the footings? Okay? And then you're like, the labor for the footings. That's like, how much is it gonna cost to do the work to build the footings? So, for example, the footings, if there's 106 feet of concrete footings times 8 inches, okay, times 2 feet wide, you can just crunch the numbers like this, where you're like 106 feet, times 0.66, because that's 8 inches, times 2 equals 139.92. Divide that by 27. So then you have 5.18 cubic yards of concrete. And if it's, say it's around $150 a cubic yard, you're like times $150. So that's like, say $780 for the concrete footing material. And then for labor, you think, how much does it cost per day to run you and your crew? And say if it's like you and another person or two, and say that's $1,000 a day, and you figure it's going to take you 1 day to do that job, then you're like labor $1,000 or whatever. So then you're like, boom, that's the footings. Next, you move on to the next thing, like say the concrete wall, and then the concrete slab, and then you just step by step you go through it, where say you have the foundation priced and you add them all up together to get a total. Then you just go through the frame, the same thing, where you're like, okay, how many studs do I need to build these walls? If there's 106 feet of walls and there's a stud every 16 inches, that'd be 106 feet times 0.75. So I need 79 studs per floor. So you're like, if there's 2 stories, then you're like, okay, I need 160 studs. So you're like 160 2x6 studs. And then you add up the wall plates, the nails, like where you add up step by step. And all you do is you break the house down into little segments, and then you just add all the little segments together. And yeah, and the stuff that is beyond your scope, like if you can't do the furnace or something like that, you just get a furnace company to give you a price on the furnace and what have you. And yeah, but this is a good cross section of a house where it shows you, like, you have your footings, you have concrete pony walls, then you have wood pony walls, wood floor supported by a beam in the middle with teleposts, and you don't get overwhelmed that you have to add up like a couple hundred things. You just step by step, like if you can add 2 plus 2, you can add this stuff together like a little bit at a time. But so you just do it in little segments, and then so say if you add up the whole concrete foundation, which is the footing, the wall, and the slab, then when you have that all priced out, then you move on to like the actual frame itself. And then yeah, you just take your time, and it's as simple as 2 plus 2. It's just a matter of like, you know, it takes you a little while to add all the stuff up. But at the end of the day, then when you know how much your house is going to cost, then you can be pretty confident about it. Where, you know, when you go to build it, you know what you're in for, and you're not going to have that many surprises. And like, if you don't know, say you don't know how much a stud costs, you just go price it out in a material store or 2 or 3. Like, you check out different stores. Like, say you don't know how much this window is, you can bring the prints down to like Home Depot or Lowe's or somewhere else and get prices for that, where they'll tell you how much the whole windows for your house is going to be. And same thing, like if you figure out, like say you have 2,000 square feet of siding, you know, and it's $1 a square foot, well, you know the siding's going to be around $2,000, and you just add up piece by piece. And I like to break it into segments, and then that way you just tackle one little segment at a time, and then at the end you add them all together. But yeah, so that's the gist of it. Is you get your blueprints, and then once you've picked out the house you're gonna build, you just step by step add it up. And then if that's too much work for you, just call me, Dan Skaarup. Yeah, suck it up, Buttercup. Or just call me, Dan Skaarup. And I've built tons and tons of houses. I've built and fixed over 2,000 houses. If you need one built, just call me and I'll be happy to build it. This one's getting built at the biggest lake in the world on Lake Superior, in a beautiful spot, overlooking the Sleeping Giant and all that jazz. And then there's all kinds of new stuff. Like, but if you don't know how to do certain things, like experts can take care of that for you, where you can hire a designing company to design your house for you, and you can tackle the things that you're able to. And then if anything's out of your scope, you just hire somebody like me. Okay, peace out and good luck building your house, guys.